Hey y'all, hey, this is Coffee with Friends, and I am raw to the bone. Let's see what the freaking vibes are today. Oh no, that's not it. Why does it do that? 1 second, I got the vibes, because it's a good fucking day. All right? Wake up. Wake up, get some food in you. Figure out what the fuck you want to be.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Hey, Interior Road. Hey, the General. Good morning, Fancy K. Today's gonna be a what?
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day. Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day.
Wait, did you
call it replication.
hear what he said?
Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.
Did you hear what he said? He said, today is going to be a good day. All right. Today is going to be a good day. Wake the fuck up. Today is going to be a good day. I'm just going to keep playing that shit.
Wake up.
Wait, I got to rewind it.
And if I make a mistake, it's called education.
You heard what he said? If you make a mistake, it's called education. If you make a mistake, it is called education. Wake the fuck up, y'all. It's going to be a good day.
Every day, call it replication.
Hey, Ravish Cocktails. Hey, Blissfully Evolving. Hey.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up. Today's going to be a good day. Today's gonna be a good day. You know why? Because I fucking said it is. All right. Hey, AG. Good morning, DJ. Good morning. Yes, Grand Rising helping with the algorithm. I love that. If you're coming in on IG, give me the hearts. Good morning. If you're coming in on Facebook, hey, Kev SD, my faithful Facebook friend. Hopping around on all platforms. I appreciate you. I do. All right. Good morning. If you're on Facebook, give me the like. Comment. Say, hey, what the fuck? Good morning. The hell is polite? You know, did I do something to you? Just fucking say good morning. Okay? If you're on YouTube, give me the thumbs up, comment, but make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, right? So, this week we're on, I don't know if it's going to be the whole week. We shall see. But hopefully today, right? You see that I still have the topic up. Hey, protagonist. Hey, launch clothing. Oh my God. Thank you, protagonist. Hold on. Because protagonist. Okay, you know what? Protagonist, you're right. I'll be right back. Okay. I had to get my water because y'all already know. Thank you, protagonist, for keeping me honest. I'm trying to get in as much water as possible, all right? Because I'm having a time over here. I still have pain in my back. It's not like a constant pain, but it's a discomfort based on how I sit, how I stand, or whatever. Kidney infection is annoying, y'all. I'm telling you. It's annoying, but I appreciate you, protagonist. Good morning. Today's going to be a good day. Good morning, Theo. Good morning, Johnny Hill. Listen, Johnny, you never, ever, ever have to explain, okay, when you don't show up here to my show because you are faithful. And so you are a lifetime Coffee with Friends member. I know you had a big graduation yesterday. Don't ever apologize for that. Okay? All right. I appreciate you guys when you join in today. Hey, Doc Holiday. All right. I call him Doc Holiday. He's on YouTube as Daryl Doc Holiday. And the reason why he's here today is because Daryl Doc Holiday is going to tell us a little bit about what he does as it pertains to protection and education around firearms, right? We talked about gun laws yesterday, and we talked about how can what can we do, to help make things better. What are we expecting the government to do? People came out with various ideas. We compared the USA to other countries, Switzerland, and in other countries that have removed guns, right? Yes, their crime rate has transferred over into other things like bow and arrow, knives, and shit like that. But there's a flip side. I'm gonna post the guest link, Doc Holiday, for you to jump on. He's gonna be my guest today and talk about his company and what he does, right? And why it's beneficial. But the one thing, so Doc Holiday, please hit the link and prepare to come on. The one thing I want to say is there is a flip side to the guns. I know that we're afraid, it's always an unknown when we go outside, what's gonna happen. Okay. But there's a flip side. There was a woman in Virginia, right, who, with a handgun, stopped a man that had an AK 15, AKR 15, how you say that shit, right, with a handgun. And so she protected a population of people because she had a weapon. Right. And this is not the first time. So there's a flip side. How many stories do you hear of a legal gun holder saving a population of people? Not many. Not many. But there are some. Okay. There definitely are some. So I want to talk about gun laws and the protection and education and where that protection and education starts. I say it starts at home. Let's start teaching our children and our families. Not only just the children, the adults. We can go ahead and take active shooting classes, go to the gun range, learn how to, learn the gun safety, learn the laws around gun safety, right? Educating yourself doesn't mean that you become a mishandler of a gun, right? So let's talk about AR-15 or AK-47. Thank you, protagonist. All right, so I'm going to hop right into the topic today. I'm going to bring Doc Holiday on and let Doc Holiday introduce himself and tell us what he does. Good morning, Doc Holiday. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm well. I really appreciate you jumping on here, and I'm so happy that you accepted my invitation at the last minute. And I've been really trying not to talk about this topic, but I know it's a topic that we need to talk about. It's very sensitive for many. There's those who don't believe in the guns, and then there's those who want their gun rights, and then there's those in the middle. And so I wanted you to come on the show because this is what you do. Right?
Yeah.
So I want you to introduce yourself. Tell me what it is you do. What business are you in? And just tell me how beneficial that business is. Go.
Well, my name is Daryl Doc Holiday. And the reason why a lot of people call me Doc Holiday, if you all don't know, it comes derived from the OK Corral. There was Doc Holiday back in the old Wesson days. He was a sheriff. And Doc Holiday himself actually was a dentist prior to his drinking problem, and he got cirrhosis of the liver. So since my last name is actually Holiday, and I started using the name Gunslinger, so I thought of Doc Holiday, and that's where the name comes from.
That's a sexy name.
So I'm actually a former law enforcement officer. And now I'm in child welfare, doing child welfare business with foster care. And my personal business itself is firearms. I am an NRA instructor, National Rifle Association instructor. I also teach pistols. I teach rifles. I teach shotgun. I'm a chief range safety officer. So anything dealing with guns, I'm now in the process of going to get my law enforcement license. That way I can teach military as well as police, some firearm instructing and everything, and get some government contracts and make that money.
Come on, Black community. I'm just saying. All right. And so in this business, Doc, I know that, there's people on the line of those that don't believe in guns. I have my permit, and I'm all for exercising my rights. But there are a lot of people who are against it, right? And they're shouting at the government, we want change. But I want to talk about how we can do protection and education, at home. Like, whether we go to a gun range, whether we're home and we're taking active shooter classes or anything of that nature to know how to protect ourselves. And I want to touch on when you teach people of various ages, what do they come in and what is it that they're asking to learn? Why are they asking to learn to shoot these firearms?
I know most of my clients are actually ladies, women that want to come in and learn how to protect themselves. Some of them have been through domestic violence situations and they feel that they are vulnerable unless they have some form of protection in their hands. I try to deter that. And telling them don't get a gun just because you feel like it's going to protect you, because everybody that shoots don't need a gun. That's one thing that I found out. And there have been several people that I have disqualified from my classes because they were unsafe or they did not have the understanding or the respect of a firearm.
I
So,
want to hang there for a minute. That
mhm,
is very important what you said, right? Because people think that people go and they go to the gun ranges, they take these classes, they sign up, and then that's it. But there are instructors like you who might disqualify them if they're not seeing them follow the proper safety protocols in the
right.
class. All
hmm
right, so that's good to know. All right, so you said most of them are women, but I also see kids.
Yes, I love
Okay.
teaching kids. Is the lighting, is it too bright? Because I noticed
With that
my,
light behind you, I can't see your face, Doc
okay,
Holliday.
hold on. Let me change. I have to like go this way. Let me see. Is that better? Wait a minute.
Yes,
Hold on.
now we can see that handsome face. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Great.
Yep, that's better.
Okay, great. So, basically, yes, I love teaching kids. I've taught children as young as 7 years old, depending on their maturity level.
Okay.
Um, and most times I have girls, little girls that come in and really are very serious. And it just tickles me because with the boys, they're so hyper and all they
Yeah.
want to do is just pick up the gun and just start trying to shoot it. But the
Uh-huh.
girls are looking at it like, do I really want to do this? Why am I here? Okay, and once I take them through the courses, because on my timeline, as you notice,
Yeah.
and have seen, I have several different girls that's on there, and they're doing wonderful and
Yes.
shooting. I mean, these girls pick it up so fast.
Yeah.
Just their brain maturity when it comes now. Like I said, most of the boys they get it, but they're in that hyper mode. Because they see all these games or they see TV, and to try to teach them the right way. And it,
Mm-hmm.
it fascinates me because even when in education, they look at it as, wow, I didn't realize that this actually shoots. And that's my whole goal here, because you know that old saying, if the cat, curiosity killed the cat. But once you
Right.
kill that curiosity, you're in a position where now you can teach, because there's
Exactly.
there's nothing. It's just like my mom used to tell us, or any mom, don't put your hand on the stove because it's hot. Don't put your hand on the stove because it's hot. But the first thing you do, put your hand on the stove to see if it's hot.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So
I
that's
agree with
basically.
that.
So in teaching children, that's the first step. I tell every parent, I say, just because you don't have a gun in your home, you don't know if your sister, brother, cousin, friend, neighbor down the street has a
Speak
gun
on
in the
it.
home. So
Exactly.
I say it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
Right. So
It's
let me
better to be
pause
safe.
there for a minute. That
hmm
is another good point. All right. I want to hang there for a minute. So,
Okay.
first, I want to say if anybody on here wants to jump on also and have any questions for Doc Holliday, please do so. I put the guest link up. Please make sure that you hop onto the guest link if you want to ask Mr. Holliday anything, any questions around this, right? Um, Doc Holliday, my question to you is, right? You made a good point, and this is one of the reasons why I started going to the gun range with my granddaughter. Right, I started going to the gun range with my granddaughter because I said, although I don't have any concerns of her accessing a weapon in my home, right? These kids, they go here, they go there, they go everywhere. You don't know what environment they're going to be in. And I
Yes.
didn't want her first experience of a firearm, seeing a firearm, you know, being out in the street. So I took her to the gun range so that they could teach her safety, you know, handling of a gun, not to put your finger on the trigger when you're holding the gun, and little safety things like that, so that when she sees a weapon, she's not afraid and she mishandles it, hurts herself and hurts someone else. So that is
Right.
key to understand, people, that this is not about whether you have a gun in your home
Yes.
necessarily. It's about what goes on outside of your home and how your children are going to react to it when they are presented with this. And so, with that, Doc Holliday, what kind of education, safety education, do you provide in these trainings?
Well, actually, my classes are like 2.5 to 3 hour total,
Okay.
even with the children. And I take them through the same courses I take an adult. I change up the wording a little bit to put it more on their level, but I teach them the six concepts of firearm safety. One is never point the gun at nothing you want to kill or destroy. And I tell them, I say that could be a vase, that could be a window, that could be a TV, that could be a person. Then I tell them the next one is always point the gun in a safe direction. And I ask them the question, where is a safe direction? And to my amaze, a lot of them get it. They will say,
Okay.
'cause many people say, well, the safe direction is out the window or the safe direction is up in the air.
No.
And kids will come and say, no, the safe direction is down to the ground. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow,
Yep, 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 down to the ground. Now, how many people on here knew that the safe direction when you're holding a gun is down to the ground? I didn't know that until I went to Guns for Hire. That is the gun range that I go to here in New Jersey.
hmm
Down to the motherfucking ground. Because I'm gonna tell you no lie. You know, when I first held the gun, they said, and I've held a gun before when I was younger, but when I went to the gun range and they put the gun in my hand, right away I grabbed the gun and I held it wrong. Right? I held the gun and I put my finger on it. He was like, You don't hold the gun, you don't point it, you don't this. There's a lot of little intricate details when you are holding a gun. And now, Doc, it's so amazing that when I watch movies and shit, I be like, oh shoot, they holding it right. They must have, the director must have made them hold the gun right or whatever. And so, the safety protocols around firearm is really important. So Johnny Hill said a 17-year-old boy here in Maryland shot a 15-year-old boy in a school bathroom with a ghost gun. Disassembled the gun and ran in his classroom with his classmates as if he was hiding from the shooter. Wow. Ghost gun.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
ghost guns are your polymer 80% guns. They have no serial number on them. You could put different parts, different gun parts from other guns and make it into an actual gun that fires. I know the government has cracked down on the company that make 80% polymers. And that's 80% of the gun being actually built.
Okay.
And that's basically your frame of the gun. But you have to get your trigger and you have to get your barrel, different other parts to make it a complete gun. So that's why they call them ghost guns, because they
Okay.
really don't have serial numbers to be traced.
Got it. So now we know what ghost guns are, right? No serial numbers, can't be traced, different parts to put them together, etc. All right. So Aquanda says she has her firearms card, but has not been to the gun range yet. Why not, Aquanda? What's holding you back from going to the gun range, right? That, the one thing that, a couple of people that I've spoken to, they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And I say to them, go to the gun range. Now, I don't just say go to the gun range to say go to the gun range, right? Because there are various types of gun ranges, right? Some are wide open and not so safe like them in Florida. Like the ones in Florida, a little scary. But the one that I go to here in New Jersey is safe. Like, you walk through one door, all the doors locked until one door opens, and the next door locks until the next door open, and the glass is fireproof and all kind of shit. So, I found that I had a fear. I didn't know I had a fear until I got in the cubby hole where I was about to shoot this gun.
hmm
And I put the gun in my hand and I was like, holy shit, how do motherfuckers pick this shit up and just shoot people? Like, this is the scariest thing in the universe. But I dedicated myself to understanding the safeties around the gun. Now, I got a lot more classes to go to, how to take it apart, how to clean it, all kinds of things. There's a lot of classes that are out there for people to take. They even have all women classes, all children classes, men classes, whatever, elderly classes, all kind of classes. And so, what do you think, Doc, about education starting from the home, and what does that look like?
Education from the home is very important. Because, like you said, going to some of these gun ranges, even myself, there's certain gun ranges. When I take my clients, I don't take them to certain gun ranges.
Mm-hmm.
There's some that's wide open. People pointing guns at you, not on purpose, but they're like
Exactly.
fanning you with their gun, or warning you, as they would call it, with their firearm to get to their
Mhm.
stall. And you don't know if that gun is loaded or not. And most times
Exactly.
it is loaded. And the first thing, a lot of people, when they first pick up the gun, the first thing they do is they put their finger on the trigger. And so in the home, we have to teach our children, or even teach our wives, husbands, significant others, gun safety.
Yes.
We have to tell them, first of all, when you pick up that gun, point your finger. Do not, you don't put your finger in the trigger itself.
Nope.
You
It's on the side of the gun.
on the side of the gun. Exactly.
Mhm.
So you
Yep.
index it. And
Yep.
so a lot of people don't know the simple basic rules of gun safety. You know,
Exactly.
um, don't put your finger in the trigger. Always keep the gun unloaded till you're ready to shoot it. And a lot of people say, well, I'm getting my concealed weapons license. Why am I keeping the gun unloaded? Well, basically, here in Florida, you don't have to keep it unloaded.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go inside the gun range, they prefer you until you get into the little
Into
stall
your
area.
Yep.
To keep it unloaded. So, and then you have your other ones. If a gun is falling on the table, like here in my house, sometimes I drop my gun, and I never try to catch a loaded gun. If a gun is falling, step back, jump back, let it hit the ground.
See,
Most
that's
times,
important.
yeah,
That's it.
most
That's
times,
key.
if you have a good gun, it will not fire. Okay. If you have an excellent made gun, a decent made gun, some people go out there and get these cheap guns, or inexpensive guns. I shouldn't say cheap, but
Mhm.
inexpensive guns. And as soon as they hit the ground, bah, it goes off.
Yeah.
So you have to always watch that. You always have to watch. You never chase a falling gun. So these are
Yeah.
some things that you teach your children in the home. Um, in the old days when I grew up, my father had a gun. And matter of fact, when he passed and transitioned to the next life, we found his gun up under the carpet in his bedroom, in my
Mm-hmm.
parents' bedroom. And
Mm-hmm.
my brother and I was shocked because I seen the gun from a young age. And the last time I remembered the gun was like 14 years old. And I thought
Mm.
he got rid of it, because as children, of course, I went and searched. I went and looked, especially if I got jumped by somebody and
Yep.
whatever. And he even told me, he said, at one time, which it kind of shocked me, he said, Daryl, you would be the one, if you ever get into it, will shoot somebody. And I
Mm.
was like, wow. And my demeanor is nothing like that.
Yeah.
But however, because I ran with my cousins or whatever, and they was into that sort of stuff,
Mm.
and not that I was, but they did. And
Yeah.
so, and they always been around guns because they lived in the city, in
Yeah.
the city area where I basically was in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have that act where we had to protect ourselves all the time, or that
Yeah.
or that knowledge of that. So I tell parents, your kid's going to find whatever you put down, wherever you hide, they're going to find it. So kill that.
Listen, I'm telling you. They're gonna find it. They're gonna,
Yeah.
and that's the scary thing. And that was one of the reasons why, I had my authorization to purchase a firearm twice. So
Hmm.
in the state of New Jersey, you can't just purchase a firearm. You have to fill out the paperwork, get approval. They give you 90 days. They give you registration paper. They give you 90 days to go and purchase a firearm. When you go purchase that firearm, the gun store fills out the paper, sends it to the police station so that they know it's your registered gun. I let both mine expire because one, I couldn't figure out what firearm I wanted. Number two, I know I have little grandkids running around. And number three, New Jersey laws are so strict, Doc Holiday, that I have to commit to understanding that there's a risk that if I have a firearm in my home, that I might go to jail. Let me explain
Wow.
why I say that. I say that because in the state of New Jersey, you have to have dual authentication, fingerprint, password, whatever. In the case, the bullets have to be separate from the gun. And I always think, By the time a motherfucker break in this house, by the time I fucking fumble for this shit, hiding the box from my grandkids, I gotta get to the top of the closet, put my fingerprint in, put my eye thing in. I only got a 2-bedroom apartment. The motherfucker gonna see me digging up in the closet. What's gonna happen to me, right? And so if anybody else gets, like, if my son is here or my husband or my man or whatever, and he go, I got the gun, I'ma grab it, and he shoot the MFer who's trying to put his peen up my ass. Okay, we all going to jail. We all
Wow.
going to jail. That's the law in New Jersey, right? We're all going to jail. One, because I was the responsible registered owner who allowed someone else to use my firearm. Bam, I'm going to jail. The person that used my firearm is going to jail. And the MF that tried to shove his meat up my butt is going to jail. So all three of us are in jail. So that's the hesitation with me getting a firearm in New Jersey, right? And that's why when
Okay.
people holler out, oh my God, we need stricter gun laws. I'm like, oh my God, if New Jersey gets any stricter, I'm just gonna fucking give them back my card. It don't make no sense at this point. So when we say make the gun laws stricter, what does that mean
Well,
to some
actually,
people?
by making the gun law stricter is not doing anything to the criminal element because
Okay.
criminals they always find a way to get a gun, get a firearm, get a knife, get a bow and arrow, get something. People like law-abiding citizens like you and I are the ones that it really hurts because here in Florida, we have where you have to lock your gun up or, have to keep it in a safe place, have to be secured, of
Mhm.
course. But myself, I have guns all around my house. As a matter of fact, in my back wall, if you look
I
back there, I
see
got them
it.
on the wall,
Woo!
you
I
know.
see it.
And so,
Yeah.
and those are some of my babies that I have back there. But however,
Okay.
my nieces, nephews come in, they know don't go in Uncle Daryl's room, and then when they do come, I keep my doors locked.
Okay.
Um, to keep that's one provision. But as far as the restriction part of it, it's only going to right now. There's so many guns because I just looked at Canada the other day, 2 days ago,
Yeah.
Friday I think it was, where he now is banning all handguns. He already banned rifles. Now he banning all handguns, but the criminal element is always going to be there to get
Yes.
those guns. And so the restriction falls on myself, people like you, myself, that are law-abiding citizens that don't have
Yeah.
the mindset of going out robbing or stealing or shooting up everybody in the neighborhood.
Right.
And so gun laws are strict now. Now I see they're trying to put a ban where they want to make everybody that has an AR-15 style rifle, not assault rifle. Their style AR-15 stands for Armalite. The guy who made the particular style, his last name was Armalite, Robert Armalite. So that's where you get the AR-15 from, the Armalite rifle. But
Okay.
however, they want to ban and put an $800 tax on every AR style that you have. And
Wow.
some people I know, myself, that'll cost me a pretty penny because I
I
have,
mean, look at the back of your wall.
yes. So, uh,
I
and,
mean,
and, and that's not even half, of
wow.
the things I own. Because I'm a firearms instructor, a lot of people like to use several different type style firearms to go ahead and shoot or learn how to shoot. And
Right.
lately, a lot of my customers, like I said, have been ladies wanting to learn how to shoot the AR-15.
Nice.
Um, yes, so
Okay.
it pans out, but this restriction is going to come with the government, and I think this is a setup. I'm going to be honest with you. For those police officers, law enforcement officers, stand out there and in Udell or wherever it was out in Texas, for them to
Uh-huh.
stand out there. Because at this point, if you notice, every election, they always overexpose any type of shooting, any type of gun violence.
Isn't that interesting how we have an
Yeah,
election today?
yes. And so they always try to overexpose to get the emotions of the people,
Yeah.
riled up and make everybody afraid because fear is the best way to sell anything. So
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point, that's because when Biden first came in and he talked about changing the gun laws, people were like, yeah, right. They really didn't take him serious. Now
Right.
everything is ramped up, and especially, and even with the happened in Buffalo, my self perception, I say that was a time when a lot of older folks would go out and shop. We don't have
Yeah.
to be amongst the young. So with restrictions, I just feel it's a bad thing because our gun laws are so tight now, but they're so tight that even myself, I have to go through a lot of background checks, federal
Yeah,
background checks, to even just own one firearm because I'm a firearm instructor, for one. And then two, it'll hurt a lot of retail business, you know, and protection in the home. That's the number
yeah,
one thing. You want to feel protected in your home.
yeah. So I have someone on here that said McCliva said, I want wait, I went I want what did you say, McCliva? You have a Smith and Wesson handgun. Oh, you went to a Smith and Wesson handgun technique training for 1 week in Boston some years back. There is still so much more to learn. All right, so people are going to trainings and things of that nature. So I mean that's good. What other items would you suggest to parents that were affected emotionally by the onslaught of what happened in Boston and in Texas? Because a lot of
I,
parents are devastated, and they had fear of letting their children go to school and such. And so what do we tell our parents that are afraid to let our children go to school in
I
fear
think
of shooters?
that's a big process. There's no one statement or quick fix statement because once you lose a child,
Yeah.
that because even when I lost my parents, that still lives with me. And I lost my parents 5 years ago, 45 days apart from each other.
Mm,
So that still stick with me. So I can never phantom because I have three children that'll live,
mm,
that are still alive, and I can never phantom one of them get gunned down or something like that. But if
yeah.
it happens, how can I have to get over that emotionally, physically, spiritually
Mm,
myself? And that's not something that just a word gonna come in and say, "Oh, it's going to be okay." No, it's not going to be okay because my child is not here. Yours is, you
yeah.
know. So these
Yeah.
are things that you have to think about. That's when you look at the parents and you grieve with them, you understand what you have to try to put yourself in their shoes. You don't understand totally what they're going through, but you at least know the outward image of what they're going through, the pain, the fear, the frustration.
Mhm.
Especially when you see the police officers just standing around.
Yeah.
And when I was in law enforcement, they taught us you breach, you go in, even if it's not an active shooter anymore. You got to go in to clear anything that's going on because there are victims in that situation.
Yeah.
And
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 didn't
I
that
was
sheriff apologize? He said he was wrong for letting them stand around or something like that.
after the fact,
Yeah.
after the fact, and then they swore him into a city council position
What?
secretly.
I missed that part.
Yes,
Oh,
secretly.
secretly. Oh,
Secretly, because he said
okay.
he didn't want to put the pressure on the people and have him sworn in amidst of everything that was going on. And it's just sad. And I even think they was talking about he's talking about resigning or something like that. Um,
Okay.
but it's a sad situation how that whole thing, that whole tragic happened. Because there was a woman that I think she was a nurse or something at a hospital. She traveled like almost 40 minutes away to go into the school, which they're not talking about it. They
Yeah.
handcuffed her, put her in the back of
Yep.
the car.
Yes, they did. They arrested her.
She got out of handcuffs, went in, got her two children,
Not her
and got
kids.
back out.
That
Yes,
exactly. She was like, "I'm getting my damn kids. Y'all could do what the freak y'all want to do, but I'm getting my kids."
exactly,
And they are not talking about that. But they're
exactly.
also not talking about the woman in Virginia who stopped a guy who was firing off an AR-15, and she
At
had
the
a hand.
graduation,
Thank
yes,
you. Why are we not
yes,
talking about that? See, there's always a
yes,
flip side. We focus on these random shootings at the schools, which are very sad, right?
right.
But there's a
Hmm.
flip side to this. There has been incidences where responsible gun holders have
Hmm.
come to the freaking rescue of the general population, like this woman in Virginia. So when I
Yes,
when I step back, I almost want to say, do you want to be in a situation where an active shooter is in your building firing off and there's no one in there that can protect you, or would you rather be in a situation where you know that there's a couple of people in here that carry, and there's a possibility they can get y'all out of this fucking situation?
right,
The flip
right.
side.
Yes, yes. Even I train churches in security because I'm also a security officer trainer.
Okay.
well, um, get people certified. So a lot of churches now are starting to come to myself and my partner as far as training. And
Hmm.
they're thinking just because they have a concealed weapons license that they can arm their security team. And I tell them no. See,
No.
you still have to go by the state regulations and the laws. And as a security officer, you can't have just a concealed weapon license.
Right now,
No way.
Quanda Evans is a member of Coffee with Friends, and she's on here right now. And she says she's a security officer, but she's not an armed security officer. Right.
Right.
And
Because I
so
do both.
there you
Hmm.
go. Okay.
I do both armed as well as unarmed.
Okay.
And I tell a lot of churches, they say, well, Doc, I want you to come in. I want you to train our people in concealed weapons. That way we can have people in church. I say, I'll come in and do that and train people. But I'm telling you now, you need to hire a security company, or you need to get your people, the ushers and greeters, whoever you have, they need to go through a security officer training. Because if they pull their weapon out, they're not acting on their own individual recourse. They're acting now in the service of the church. And as a
Mm,
service of the church, they are liable, the church is liable, the pastors are liable, and everybody who has in position are liable if they
nice.
pull their firearm out and start blasting out the place.
So this is
And
interesting. Churches.
hmm hmm
Interesting.
so I just tell people, I say, you have to understand where you will stand. And then one lady that I talked with yesterday, she said, well, the sanctuary that we only liable for the sanctuary, but outside going to the bathroom because another church is, and I'm like, you
Mm-mm,
just, and in the parking lot,
mm-mm.
people go out in the parking lot. So we're not responsible, liable for that. I'm like, anything on
Yes,
that
you
church
are.
ground, because I tell them, I say, people sue anybody and for
Yep.
anything. And it may not, you might not think it might not fly, but a jury might look at it and say the church was responsible.
Exactly.
And especially if the security officer or concealed weapons license acting as security officers run outside and shoot somebody and mess around and hit a kid by accident.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what I tell people a lot of times, like you mentioned, just somebody who has their license but don't go to the range. I
Yeah.
tell my
Aquanda Evans. She's on here.
Okay, I tell my students when they go after they finish with me, I say training doesn't stop with me. Training is consistent and constant. Even myself, I'm always training. I'm always at the range doing something, learning how a new trade or new trick.
Yeah.
And I tell people, on average, a new gun owner should go to the gun range at least for the first 6 months, 3 times a month.
I know I messed up. I gotta get back on it. I really messed up. I gotta get, you know what it is? Going to the gun range, y'all, is not cheap.
Yes, yeah, that's
Especially if
true.
it's an expensive hobby. Do not
Hmm.
sneeze at this gun shit. It's an expensive hobby. I go to the gun range and drop $300-400 at a gun range because I don't have my own gun, so therefore I don't have my own bullets, and I don't have my own goggles, and I don't have my own this, and I don't have my own that. So when I go to the gun range, I have to rent all that shit. I have to rent the
Yep.
bullets, the gun, the this, and 9 times out of 10, I want to shoot multiple guns. So I'm renting 2 or 3 different types of guns just to get a feel, right? And then I got my granddaughter who wants to try a rifle. And so all of that costs money. And so when you go to a gun range, it's gonna, if you don't have your own shit, you're not walking in there with your own case, it's gonna cost you a couple of $100.
Yes. Yes.
It's not
Yes.
cheap.
Yes.
So I know I got to get back on it, right? I got to have a budget for something like this. Now, McCliver asks where Doc Holliday is located. So, Doc, do you want to give us your information? Let people know how to get in contact with you in case they want training, in case they want information, anything of that nature. Go.
Yes. Well, you can find me on IG at Doc Holiday 69 on IG. I'm in the South Florida area. So right now I moved. I was in the Fort Lauderdale area. I moved up to Port St. Lucie, which is like an hour and a half away, but I still do all my trainings in West Palm Beach, Dade County, Broward County. Sometimes I venture with my daughters over in Tampa. I venture over there because I joined the gun club over
That's
there.
where I keep trying to get you to come get me. When I go visit my mom in St. Petersburg, I do reach out to Doc because listen,
Hmm.
I know them gun ranges be funny in Florida, so I don't want to pick the wrong one.
Right.
So I rely on you, Doc, when I visit my mother to come get me.
Yes, yes. And then I can be reached by telephone. My telephone number is 954-892-3969. Like I said, I'm on Facebook as Daryl Holiday or Daryl J. Holiday. And then my business page is Doc Holiday, of course, Doc Holiday Enterprises.
Okay.
And so these are different ways you can reach out to me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate again, Doc. I really appreciate it. I reached out to this man last night because we started having this conversation yesterday, and other people on here said that they wanted to continue the topic, but I didn't think, I'm not a professional in this area, and so I know this is what you do. You stand by it. You've been in this for many, many years, and so I
Yeah.
wanted, to reach out to you to see if you can come on and try to talk to some of the people on Coffee with Friends, because we have people on here that have children that were impacted by the shootings, the occasional shootings in the schools. We have people on here that might be interested in getting their gun license but might be a little bit afraid. We have
Hmm.
people that don't know how to freaking feel about these
Right.
gun
Right. Hmm.
about these gun laws. But the one thing is that we constantly scream government, government, change the gun laws, government, 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 change the gun laws. But is it really the government that needs to change the gun laws? Is it state by state? Is it at the federal level? Where do you think, the change needs to happen? If there
Well,
is a change that needs to happen.
there changes do need to happen, and I feel first change needs to start at home. Understanding firearms, understanding the nature of the beast, as they would say. And then you will go to your city councils. I tell everybody, get into your community. A lot of times, even taking a stop the bleed class or a CPR class, because
Mm-hmm.
most times people, when they get involved, you ever see everybody out there filming, but nobody's helping
Nobody giving
anymore.
CPR.
Exactly, exactly. And I say,
Yep.
go to your city, go to your townships. Some of you that are in HOAs, force them to give you protective type classes. Even active shooter classes in the home. They have the money. That's what you're paying these taxes for. So it
Thank
starts with the
you.
city. Yes, yes. And I
Right.
tell people all the time.
I'm telling you, like a lot of people who scream, and I always say, and I play devil's advocate a lot, and people chop me up because of it. But when people come to me and they know that I exercise my right, and they come to me, they go, "Why would you want a gun?" Blah blah blah. And I say to myself, "Do you even take the time to educate yourself? Like, you're
Right.
so afraid of what's going to happen. Does that fear drive you to take classes so that you know how to protect yourself against the shooter?" How many people on here, Coffee with Friends, has taken classes? I'm going to admit, I personally did not go out on my own and take active shooter classes, but my job gives these classes. So I get these active shooter classes and all these classes through my job. Right,
Hmm.
because we have to know how to react if it happens in the corporate environment, right?
Yes.
But what about the people who don't get these mandatory classes at work? How many people on here just go out and them and their kids, and y'all take them to learn these classes? CPR, like Doc said, that's something simple. My granddaughter is certified in CPR. This is the same granddaughter that I took to the gun range. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have to make sure that your kids are educated, whether they believe in guns or not, just a form of the way of protecting yourself. So for me, education at the home is important.
Yes. Yes.
And getting
Yes.
involved with your community. One of the questions that I asked yesterday was, and I'm guilty of it, how many people go to their town halls in their towns, in their areas? I live in Hackensack. I ain't been to one town hall, but the first time they do some stupid shit in Hackensack, I'm like, what the fuck? But I don't go to the town halls, right? But I'm the one to
Exactly.
say, what the fuck? What the fuck are they doing? But how am I adding to the change? Right? Or
Exactly.
am I just sitting home
Exactly.
going, they need to stop this shit? But I'm not showing up to help make a difference,
Right.
right? I also talked about the schools. How many people go to their PTA meetings? When my son was young, okay, I used to go to PTA in the auditorium be empty. Where the fuck are the parents? But active a shooter come in here, y'all like, what the fuck? The school didn't do what? Like, you got to go to these meetings and figure out what safety protocols your school has in place and how they're handling things. We have to
Yes.
get involved too. We can't just keep shouting, government has to make a fucking change, right? We have to make a change too.
Yes.
Right. And so, and also when we say the government has to make a change, yes, there's changes that needs to be made. But I always tell people, somebody on here said Massachusetts suck for gun laws because they're the same as New Jersey, and it makes no fucking sense. Some states are strict. So when people go, they need to change the gun laws, I'm like, stop coming for New Jersey. Go the fuck over there to Texas. Go the fuck over there to these places where these kids can go in a store and buy a gun. That don't happen here in New Jersey. If our kids have a gun, guess what? They bought it from some motherfucker on the street.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot
Mm-hmm.
go into no gun store here and buy a gun. Our Walmarts do not have rifles. The fuck? They don't. Right?
Wow.
And so, we just have to do more to educate ourselves. But Doc, I really appreciate you joining Coffee with Friends today. I
Thank you.
love it.
Thank you.
All right, because some shit I'm just not in the know. And this was one of those things that I couldn't speak on educationally. And so I wanted to pull someone in that had the educational background and knowledge to be able to talk to Coffee with Friends. And I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
I
All right.
appreciate you inviting me on.
Yes, and you keep doing your thing, Doc Holiday. That's such a cute name. How you take my boyfriend's name? I love it though. I love it. But thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate it. Hopefully,
Yes.
you'll come on the show again in the future. But
Yes.
I'm gonna try to wrap up. But I appreciate it. So if anybody wants to get in touch with Doc Holiday, y'all know, reach out to him on Facebook, reach out to him on IG. If you want to take some classes and you're in the Florida area, reach out. Okay, it ain't free, y'all. Y'all got to fucking pay. I'm just saying, it's a business. Yeah, right. What the fuck? All right. But thank you, Doc. I appreciate it. Have a nice day. I
You
appreciate
too.
it. All right.
Blessings.
Yes. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
All right. So that was Doc Holiday. Wow. Wasn't that interesting, y'all? Listen, sometimes we get on Coffee with Friends and we bullshit and I'm your only talking head, right? But this time I needed to have someone come on here that had some knowledge about the gun game. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, I invited Doc Holiday, which he's amazing, right? Isn't he amazing? And so, Aquanda, I know that you mentioned on here, I was reading the comments as we were going through, but I needed him to get out the information that he got out because there are people who watch my show after the fact, and hopefully someone will watch this and get some knowledge from Doc Holiday and even use his services in Florida, right? The other thing I want to say, guys, if any of you are on here and you advertise your business, right? And you want to have a spotlight moment where you come on Coffee with Friends and you talk about your business and the services that you offer, let me know. We could do that. The other thing I want to mention though is if you advertise your business on this show, if you advertise your services on this show, and I don't want to find out from Coffee with Friends members that y'all fucking frauding them or not responding to them or not doing business properly because that's not nice. Okay. This is Coffee with Friends. We are a family. Everybody on here is a family. So if you meet business partners on here and services you want to take up, please do the right thing. All right. And provide the service. If you can't provide the service, say you can't provide the service. All right. Okay. Ghost 95 says, stay away from Texas. Ghost 95 also says, I took a class before the laws changed out here and didn't require uh, a license to carry anymore. Is that what you're saying? Damn. Um, McCliver, you said travel to PA. I don't think he travels, but reach out to him and ask him, you got time on your hands, go to fuck to Florida, you know? So he is in Florida. Um, So this was important to go over because I know a lot of people are still, in their feelings about what has happened. And those that have lost children in these gun shootings, it's sad. But the one thing is I want to say is that, concealed handgun license. Okay. Um, the one thing I want to say is that there's a flip side, right? There's a dangerous side to the guns, and then there's the other side, right? But to conquer the fears of guns, educate yourself. You don't have to be the one to go to a gun range, right? If you are afraid for your children, start paying for some of these active shooter classes, right? Or demand that the schools provide, go to the Board of Education, put a request in that the schools provide these classes for the children, the teachers, and extend these classes to the parents, right? So that everyone understands how to act when there's an active shooter in the building, right? And if you are that parent that is okay with guns in your home and you are that person, not only should the adults be educated in the home about the weapons. If you have weapons in your home and you have children, start teaching them early. You do not want to be the parent that the kid finds the gun and goes, hey, la 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 la, what's this? And blows off their motherfucking head. Sounds harsh, but it's real, right? Then you don't want that. You don't want them to pick it up and wonder what this is and start playing with it out of curiosity, right? So if you are a gun owner and there's a gun in your house, it is your responsibility to make sure that you are educating everyone in the home. Okay, and that there are safety protocols in place. Yes, there needs to be change at the government level, but there also needs to be change at our level in our homes, right? Education and protection starts at home. Okay, Cheryl Lee said, yes, he is amazing, and I love that he educates children. In my opinion, training them may prevent accidents. One, two incidents where, oh, two incidents where a brother killed a brother, they will come across guns. Yes, they will. They absolutely will. Not only did I go to the gun range with my granddaughter, but I went with my son. Okay. And I'm pretty sure my son held a gun before. He better not tell me, but I know he did. Right. But you know what I saw? I went to the gun range with a few people that held guns before. Guess what? When they got to the gun range, they found out that some shit they were doing wrong. So some of these motherfuckers that are out here with guns, or some of y'all think y'all know how to use y'all guns, it's not just about point and pull. Okay, it's a lot more shit to learn. Education and protection starts at home. We need to start focusing on what's going on in our homes, all right? As well as getting involved in our communities and getting involved with what's going on in the schools, all right? Let's not be that person that divorces ourselves from the issue until the issue arises. I have been guilty of it. I just said, I'd be like, what the fuck? But yeah, I don't participate in town halls and shit like that, right? Don't be like that. All right, y'all. But I appreciate y'all joining Coffee with Friends. It's 8:50, and today was a continuation of the gun laws and protection and education in the home. Aquanda Evans, you said you wanted to go to the gun range, but you didn't want to go by yourself. If you are up to go to Guns for Hire, okay, I'll go with you. I will go with you. Let me know. Let's talk about it. I got to figure out my pennies though and figure out when I could go. It's expensive, but definitely we could go. If anybody's in New Jersey and wants to hop over to the gun range and they don't want to go by themselves, hit me up on my inbox. I can certainly meet you over there. Okay. Protagonist. Oh, someone on here. Oh, Cheryl Lee mentioned that here in Maryland, you cannot have a marijuana medicinal card and purchase a gun or get a license. That's true in New Jersey too. It's true in New Jersey too. That's why I be telling motherfuckers, shut up about these gun laws, because New Jersey and some of these states are strict. Okay, y'all live in Texas and Utah and places like that. It amazes me how it's the Midwest, how it's the West, that's the wild wild West, that they don't have no fucking rules in place, that they could do what the fuck they want. But over here, we got rules. Okay, the fuck. All right. Protagonist said gun range be like $20 an hour, and I was like, yeah, nah, $20 an hour. I'm telling you, I pay a couple of hundred by the time I'm out that bitch. Okay, renting the guns and the bullets and the goggles and all kind of shit. It's a lot. All right. So if you're gonna go to a gun range, try to get as much of your own shit as possible. Even if you don't have the gun, get the goggles, get everything that you need, so that only thing you have to rent is the gun and the bullets. Okay. Um, Cheryl Lee said neither agency will tell you these before applying for them. They don't, because they don't want you to have the gun. Okay, so they're not going to tell you about that medicinal card. But I know that you can't have a medicinal card and have a gun license, right? That's where they get you. So be careful, y'all. That even though marijuana, the crazy thing is that marijuana is legal, recreational. So you don't have to have a medicinal card, right? So now we don't know who the fuck is smoking and shooting. That's why education needs to start at home. Cheryl Lee said they see TV, video games, etc. with the interaction of guns. They really don't understand the danger in them. Normalize them. And that's another great point, Cheryl Lee, right? So when we have parents, right, yelling and screaming, oh, we need to do something about these guns. We need to do something about these guns. But at home, we're watching Rambo and shit like that. What kind of conversations are we having at home with our children when we're watching these things on TV? right? And when we buy our kids play guns and they be running around going ping, 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 and boom, boom, I got you, cowboys and Indians. What education are we transferring onto our children when they do that? Now, I'm not saying that you're a bad parent because you have not been doing that, because I myself didn't do it, right? But as we know better, we do better, right? And so this is one of those moments, you know better, so fucking do better. All right. And with that, I don't know how much more we can drain out of this topic, but I did want to extend the topic to today and make sure that I had someone on that is in the firearm arena that can explain from an educational level what's going on and how to educate yourself and protect yourself with firearms. Okay. Doc Holliday said the buddy system is always better than going to the range by yourself. Yes, I agree with that, Doc. But why do you say that? The buddy system is always better than going to the range by yourself. Why is the buddy system better? I've never been to the range by myself, but I I'm not a person that does a lot of shit by myself. I'm getting better. Right. But why is the buddy system better? That's another good point. So if you do want to go to the gun range, grab a friend and go to the gun range. One of the things I want to experience, I'm not ready yet. You got to know what you're ready for. And I'm not ready. Is an open range. You know, when they shoot the targets, the and the dummy things flap down if you shoot it, like target shooting, but in the open. See, I've seen some videos. Listen, I have some friends that are serious about their guns. Okay. I mean, their kids from little are shooting guns. I follow, like I said, Guns for Hire. They have a women's group. For anybody that lives in New Jersey, they have a women's group in Guns for Hire. Okay. Where it's all women and they have children. They do the same thing as Doc Holliday, where they teach you gun safety, but they have classes just for women, just for children, and then they have classes that are combined. So there's all kind of classes that you could take at these gun ranges before you, you know, enter the world of being a gun owner. But if you are against gun ownership, that's okay too, right? But being against gun ownership does not mean closing your eyes to educating yourself about gun protection. Okay, even if you are the person that does not believe in having guns in your home, I still believe that you should extend the education to yourself and to the people in your home, your children, to make sure that they understand what gun safety is about and even learn some of the gun laws. It's okay. You don't have to be for guns to know how to be safe around them. The knowledge is out there, guys. Get the knowledge. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you sit on. It's all about knowing and protecting. All right? It is. It is. Fancy K, it don't matter. I didn't do. Listen, the first time I went, I tried to shoot a 45. What the fuck was I thinking? I had the gun in my hand. It said, okay, the shit was too strong for me. The shit almost flipped out of my hand. It don't matter how good or bad you do. That's what the gun range is for, Fancy K, for you to learn. I learned that my ass needs to stay away from the 45. That's what the fuck I learned. So I'm trying to get good at shooting a 40. Okay, because I want to have it, I'm still trying to figure out what kind of gun I want. And they tried to push 9mm on me a couple of times, and I was like, I can't, and they tried to push a 22 on me. I was like, I don't want nothing that's gonna tickle a motherfucker when they come in. So I'm kind of wavering around a 38 or a 40, but I have to like it. And so I'm still practicing. I will not purchase a gun until I am comfortable. And that's where I'm at. Okay. And so Fancy K, whether you do good or not, that's what the fuck the gun range is for you to go there and learn. Don't worry about doing good. You learn your limitations when you go. Okay. Doc Holliday said the buddy system is good because it builds confidence between the two individuals. I love it. I love it. And the gun range is good because you have a variety of guns you can choose from to shoot with. Because you might go in there with one thing on your mind and you might realize that there's something else more suited for you. Okay, get the education no matter the side of the fence you're on. And with that, y'all, this was Coffee with Friends. Today was an extension of the gun laws, but today was a focus on protection and education in our homes. Okay, and getting some tidbits from Mr. Doc Holliday. I appreciate you guys. You know me, Coffee with Friends is about talking about things that happens in our community. Sometimes it's good conversation, sometimes it's sad conversation, sometimes it's frustrating conversations, but the whole purpose of Coffee with Friends is to touch on what goes on in our lives in the everyday basis, what goes on in our community. How can we do better? How can we love up on each other better? Right? And in this topic, educate yourself. Education starts at home. Okay. And with that, link is in my bio. Follow me across all of my platforms: Facebook, IG, TikTok, where I do my inspirational dances. YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel. You hit the bell so that you know when I have a live video coming on. And this was a great fucking Tuesday, y'all. All right. Y'all got some education on here. So for those that were interested in going to the gun range, maybe you'll go now. Okay. And for those that are not for guns, maybe you'll still go and get the education. And for those that are looking for professional services that live in South Florida, you can reach out to Doc Holliday, right? And for those that live in New Jersey, reach out to Guns for Hire if you want some education. Okay. Don't say I ain't give y'all asses no information. And with that, y'all, let me see what the motherfucking vibes are gonna be on the way out. I'm just gonna go here.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go.
What?
Even when there's no hope, you can still go.
Hey.
I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hey. Y'all know this is Coffee with Friends, and I am the host, Raw to the Bone. And today was about guns, protection, and education. Hey, listen, one thing I'm for is loving up on our community, doing better, know better, do better, right? Love up on each other. Hey, and come back tomorrow because it's Hump Day Wednesday. Question and answers, or assholes. What y'all got? Come here tomorrow prepared with your questions. Any question, any testimony is welcome. Tomorrow's question and answer day, or assholes, because opinions equal assholes. We all got one. But what? You can still go. Hey, gone for now, never forever. Peace. Hey.